Over the years, we have expanded our facility. When we first started, we were servicing the people of the state of Georgia, and now we have evolved to serve the national demand.
The evolution was that my children were involved in showing hogs in the state hog show. We took our children and the animals up to Macon, and the facilities were abysmal, just to be honest about it. The facility that we had the show in was dusty and dirty, and we had a judge there from Oklahoma. And I remember going back to Atlanta on Monday and talking to Mr. Henry Reeves, who was chairman of the Agriculture Committee. And I told him how embarrassed I was to have a judge from Oklahoma to come in here and see facilities that the state hog show had to be held in. And we talked, and he said, we're going to do something about this. So he and I formed an ad hoc committee, and we had a meeting in Atlanta at the Georgia Farm Bureau. And we talked about the need for a facility in Georgia.
Joe Frank Harris came along and appointed the authority, which is still a 9-member authority from around the state. In the original authority guidelines, we were charged to, first of all, find a location. And basically it said it needed to be in the center, middle of the state, if possible, accessibility with interstate system and what have you. So we really had a number of applicants from about Tifton north.
Macon and Perry were the last two choices, and when the committee came to Perry, they had ladies out there serving peach ice cream. It was very nice. Then they got on the bus and went to Macon, and they met protesters up in Macon. Also, the Perry track was a flat track, not a lot of cost to cure to put the facility in, certainly not nearly as much as in Macon.
The way it ended up, I think, was great in that the county of Houston and the city of Perry went together and bought the property, and then in turn they gave the property to the state. And it really started out with right here on the interstate system, and we had 627 acres to start with, and of course it's been added to since that time.
The city was overjoyed with the announcement that we had been selected as the site for the Georgia Ag Center and the Fairgrounds. We had a big celebration. The citizens of Perry were invited, and the Chamber of Commerce put together a program for that evening, so those were happy days in Perry.
We put $15 million in the budget the first year. And the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, after we had put the $15 million in, came to me and he said, would you be willing to cut this back to $7.5 million, and we'll put the next $7.5 million in next year? Well, I'd been in the legislature long enough to know that was not a good thing. They didn't mean that we're necessarily going to put it in the next year. I told him I was not for that. I said we need to go ahead and put the $15 million in, and that's exactly what happened.
Every year, the Georgia National Fairgrounds and Agri Center attracts more than 1 million people with over an $80 million economic impact on the state of Georgia. Through that, tax revenues exceed $5 million that go straight to the state and local tax. That's a pretty good investment for the state of Georgia. Our clock tower has become the symbol of agriculture throughout the nation. Everywhere we travel, anybody who sees our clock tower thinks of agriculture in Georgia.
The clock tower is an interesting story. We were under construction with the Reeves Arena, and at the time, the Speaker of the House was Tom Murphy. And Speaker Murphy came down. We had an event in Perry, and I can remember Larry Walker, who was in the House at the time. He brought Speaker Murphy out here to kind of show him what was going on. And we were walking up in front of Reeves Arena. Larry made reference to the fact that at some point, Speaker, we want to, the tower's going in, we'd like to put a clock in it, but we can't do that at this time because of funding and so forth. And he turned and said, how much is a clock? And at the time we had looked into it, it was about $40,000 for the clock. He turned and he said, see if we can't come up with some money for a clock. And that was the story of the clock. We got the clock in the tower that time.
The first Georgia National Fair in the fall of 1990, I believe it was. Our son was in the 10th grade that year, Wes, and he had a steer that was pretty good, and he won the first Georgia National Fair, and in that fall, that October of 1990, and then went on. That same steer was named champion steer at the big show in February.
I can remember vividly driving up my dad's old white truck to buy our first lamb. And I can remember doing the same thing for Kaysen, because the sale was actually out here. Our first project that she ever had was 2 goats that we bought at a sale. We didn't even bring the trailer. I took a fitting mat that was in the back of my truck and put it inside the truck, and we took the 2 goats home. And that started her livestock show career in the back seat of the truck. The sense of pride that it has for me that my family actually, want to be involved in the livestock industry. I don't think there's any other family project or family activity that you can be involved in that teaches the characteristics of responsibility and hard work and teamwork than livestock showing.
My first introduction to the Georgia National Fairgrounds and Agri Center was when I was 4 years old. I came up and participated in a Pee Wee Lamb showmanship, and I actually still have the first flag and trophy that I won at that show. And that was really my first time up here participating in anything of that nature. And being able to go back now and look over the years that I've been able to come in these barns and showcase my livestock, that was just kind of a pivotal point for me and my family. My dad actually grew up showing. Now, he didn't show here in Perry, but he showed at different places across the state. As a 4-year-old, you say, what could you possibly know about passion? But being able to take what I knew I was interested in and take that interest and turn it into a passion as something that I have really been able to enjoy and really made my own. Coming up here to Perry, I spent every birthday at the Georgia National Fair. I, grew up in the beef barn. We had our own beef cattle that we showed up to 6 at a time. And so as a child, you really start to develop a sense of this is who I am. This is what I want to do with my life. And being able to be engrossed in agriculture the way that we were, it was really kind of changed and molded the people that, me and my siblings are today. But this is a completely different avenue. Whenever you get to come up and do something that you're passionate about, something that's really intended to be an extracurricular activity, but you turn it into a lifestyle, you turn it into the brand, you turn it into who you are. That's really what I was able to do, and it was because of the Georgia National Fairgrounds and Agri Center that I was able to find my interest and my passion, and now it's become something that I do for a living. I was able to go from starting and showing in our livestock barns to now promoting and marketing the same ones. And not many people get to say that they come to their second home as a job. And that's exactly what I get to do each and every day at the Georgia National Fairgrounds and Agri Center.
Most important part of my job is the youth agriculture aspect. If we don't continue to support youth agriculture and promote it and make it a big deal, then we feel like our ag industry will go away. We've got to train next year's farmers and next year's leaders in agriculture.
Looking to the future, we knew that we wanted to be able to include our livestock exhibitors, and we actually really took that opportunity to create and brand ourselves with a new team. We were able to create the Georgia National Junior Livestock Ambassador Team. This team is made up of 10 individuals from across the state of Georgia, and they're all our livestock competitors here that come and compete in our shows at the Georgia National Fairgrounds. They serve a 1-year term, and during that time, they are able to come and not only help out at our youth and livestock exhibitions, but also a lot of our commercial events. They're able to take the knowledge that they know and then share that news with others that as they come and visit our facility. And having them as the facility's face for that livestock program has been able to open up so many doors. They're able to educate kids their age and the general public about what they actually do at these competitions on a day-to-day basis. They are able to show them that, this is really what we do with our extra time. This is our hobby. This is what we invest our time and effort and money into. And as they've been able to go throughout the year, they grow themselves. They actually get to see what else we do here at the facility besides our livestock and equine shows. They see that this place is a multi-use, year-round facility that we have so many other activities at, and they walk away with a different outlook and experience once their year's completed. As part of our mission, we hope to be able to educate the general public about what we do here at the Georgia National Fairgrounds and the agricultural industry. And it's with the platforms of the 4-H and FFA organizations that our exhibitors get to come and participate in those livestock and equine shows throughout the year. And it's through those exhibits that we hope that the general public comes out and enjoys what all these kids and these families put into their livestock projects. Because unlike some other youth competitions, they can go and they can travel, they can compete with a team, but this is truly one of the most unique experiences that a family can have. And them being able to come to the Georgia National Fairgrounds, make those memories that really turn into a lifestyle and that they can take with them a lifetime is something that we pride ourselves in here.
The Fairgrounds has been a home away from home for me. Coming here for so many years, it's just kind of made me the person that I am today. Excited to see what the future holds for the Fairgrounds. It's growing bigger and bigger every year, and my niece and nephew are starting to show here, so it's just kind of exciting to get to see what their livestock years have for them and see what they have to offer for the younger kids, and hopefully get to have an influence on that.
Where I did FFA, we all kind of did our own things. Like I used to do dance and my sister did softball, but AG's kind of brought us all together. Going into this, my parents had no idea anything about ag, and we've learned so much together through this process. Before I was in FFA, I was extremely shy and really quiet, and I could have never done something like this. FFA has really brought me out of my shell and taught me so much about myself.
There's no doubt over the next 30 years that agriculture in Georgia will change, but my hope and prayer is this goes into the archives, and who knows, perhaps even 30 years from now, somebody's looking at this, that they best not ever leave the mission of this place. The mission of this place is to serve young people in the state of Georgia, to connect the public with agriculture, to connect and show those life lessons that we've discussed, that generations of young people in Georgia have that opportunity. What type of livestock will be exhibiting 30 years from now? I don't know. I think it will. We look back into the historical documents as we see the steers and heifers of 30 years ago. Well, there's some differences. How cyclical that will be, it'll be very interesting. What else we choose to do. We have first-class facility now. We have first-class experience. But we've got bigger things yet to come. This is a place where dreams actually can come true. We're all willing to work together with great staff and great board. It'll be good for Georgia for many generations to come.